Hello everyone, Mason here. How are you doing? Today it's time for a book review. The Scottish Highlands. They're beautiful and picturesque. In the summertime, these idyllic mountains and lochs could provide a perfect backdrop for a happy couple to enjoy each other's company. However, in the depths of winter, with the snow falling thick and fast, this isolated location is perhaps a less desirable destination, and the old converted chapel feels anything but romantic. That's okay though, because Adam and Amelia Wright are not a happy couple. When Amelia wins a romantic getaway in a raffle at work, it seems like the perfect opportunity for one last chance to fix things with her workaholic screenwriter husband. But when they arrive, they find a very old, very creepy converted chapel in the middle of nowhere. There's no phone reception, and soon there will be no way out. Everything is not what it seems, and Adam and Amelia are not alone in this snow-capped wilderness. Secrets will be revealed. Somebody has dark intentions. Adam and Amelia may have arrived as a couple, but only one of them is going to leave. Today's book review is Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney, published on the 19th of August 2021. You know, books are much easier to review when they fall on the extreme ends of the scale, when you love or hate them. In either case, it's easy to find reasons to ramble on about why you felt that way. For me, the difficult reviews are the ones that leave me with mixed feelings, unable to decide or define exactly what my opinion is, and that's definitely the case with Rock, Paper, Scissors. Where I feel this book shines is the setting and atmosphere. I honestly think this may be the best, most defined setting of anything I've read this year. Alice Feeney does a fantastic job. Guys, it's palpable. The open landscape with nothing around for miles. Sweeping fields and mountains all covered in snow. The old converted chapel with its stained glass windows, dust-covered interiors, creaking floorboards, a cellar, and locked doors that lead to rooms filled with strange secrets. There's just this feeling of gloomy, barren desolation, and it's so vivid that you could almost feel cold whilst reading this. Whilst I don't usually go into this sort of thing, it's an amazing visual representation of Adam and Amelia's marriage where there's no love, no warmth left between them. I also feel that Feeney does a great job with the characters. Whilst they're almost entirely unlikable, they definitely feel real. Unfortunately, I don't feel that the plot is anywhere near as strong as either the characters or the setting, and to be honest, that's where most of my mixed feelings come from. As with so many other thrillers, we get multiple perspectives. We flip back and forth between Adam and Amelia, getting to see what they think of each other. They're both keeping secrets, they're both planning something, and for the most part, they're horrible, selfish people that clearly don't love each other anymore. The chapters are also split between the past and the present. The past documents 10 years of marriage through letters addressed to Adam that his wife makes clear she will never let him read, mostly because they contain observations about him that are brutally honest. The letters are well written for sure, and I definitely enjoyed the story that they tell. Each one is headed by a word of the year that has some sort of significant meaning that links to that year's events. However, I ran into a fairly common problem. For me, when a story is split between the past and the present, I always find myself more invested in one of the timelines, and I was so taken with the setting that I was more concerned with what was happening in the present. Another problem for me was that the pacing felt very stop-start, jumping back and forth between Adam, Amelia, and a spoilery third perspective that I don't want to talk too much about, as well as the past and the present. It felt like I was always having to readjust. As the story progresses, we refer back to the letters more and more often. It got to the point where it felt like it was scene, letter, letter. And because of that, I felt that any time the momentum picked up, the brakes were being applied. I actually read this book a few weeks ago. Now that's a lot longer than I usually wait to put out a review, but I'm actually glad that I've had a few things to do that I've had to prioritise above rock, paper, scissors. I feel that I needed that time to sit and think about this one. Honestly, if I'd recorded a review the day after finishing, it would have been much different to this one. The main reason for that would have been the twist. Now, whilst I've seen other people, including people that I respect like Heather from Heather's book review saying that they cottoned onto this one early, I definitely did not. When it finally came, mate, my mind was blown. I couldn't believe it, and it really kicked things up a notch for me. Everything that came afterwards was so much more enjoyable because of it. Here's the thing though, and we're back to what I was saying last video. Yeah, the twist was great, but what about everything else? What about the middle section of the book that I felt dragged in certain places? What about the problems I had with the stop-start pacing? Well, I'd forgotten all about them. The twist led to this knee-jerk reaction. It was like I was mentally blinded by the dopamine. I couldn't believe it when I checked Goodreads yesterday and saw that I initially rated this 5 stars, which I promptly moved down. Don't get me wrong, I definitely enjoyed Rock, Paper, Scissors, and the twist definitely made me want to read it again, knowing the whole truth. However, it's not what I would call a 5-star read. It didn't make me want to stand on the rooftop screaming, "I love Rock, Paper, Scissors!" and getting all my friends to read it immediately. It was just pretty good, and I feel like that's a fair judgment. There's actually more than one twist, which is something else I had a problem with, because the big one is great, but then they just kept on coming. By the end, the plot was like one of those old school phone cables. A few of them, especially the very last one, just felt unnecessary. In the last few chapters, it was like Feeney just went into overdrive, explaining certain things and leaving others open to interpretation, but it was slightly frustrating because at least one of the things she explained I wish she hadn't, and would have preferred to know the truth about some of the questions she left mysterious. Throughout the story, there's little hints to something that I don't want to go into because of spoilers, but later on a character offers an explanation that I found quite cool. The last twist invalidates that explanation though, and so I was left wondering what the actual truth was. It just felt like Feeney wanted to have a cake and eat it too, like she didn't necessarily know what the truth was, and honestly I would have preferred it to be one thing or the other. There's also just a few things that don't quite make sense. For a start, I don't believe that the resolution would happen the way that it did, and some things take place purely to trick us as an audience, which I'm not a fan of in any book. At one point, Adam does something that has certain implications, but what's implied isn't true, so him doing it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Misleading us is fine, but it still needs to make logical sense. This is such a weird one, guys. I still don't fully know how I feel. There's so much to like. That palpable, tension-filled setting, the fact that Rock, Paper, Scissors is actually a significant title. It's a motif that comes up multiple times throughout the story and is integral to the plot. The characterization is so great. I didn't like any of them, but I definitely connected to them. Stephanie Racine and Richard Armitage do a fantastic job narrating the audiobook. Although their pronunciation of Loch as Loch made me want to rip my hair out. Yes, I know it's how it's pronounced, but it felt pretentious and annoying. I will say that Stephanie Racine's version of Adam didn't work for me. Richard Armitage has this deep, croaky, monotone narration, and Stephanie Racine's version was much more intonated, had a lot more emotion to it, and it just didn't fit. The letters talk about exchanging traditional presents, paper, wood, pottery, tin, etc. throughout the marriage, and these have significance to the plot too, and I thought that was brilliant. The problem is, for everything that I liked, there was also something I didn't. That stop-start pacing. The fact that some things just don't make sense. The fact that the major twist is brilliant, but the minor ones are unnecessary at best. At times, it just felt like there was too many ingredients, and some of them clashed. I think that Alice Feeney just tried to do a little bit too much, and should have taken a simpler approach. Having said that, what do I know? I've written a few poems and one short story. I'm by no means an author, and I don't even consider myself a critic. I'm just a guy sharing my opinions. And if you look on Goodreads, you'll find an army of people offering 5-star reviews for this, so maybe I'm just wrong. Overall, I definitely enjoyed this enough to make me interested in going back and checking out Feeney's other work, and I'll read what she brings out next. So it's a success in that sense. I'm definitely interested in talking spoilers, so if you want to do that, head down to the comments section where there'll be a pinned comment that we can use as a spoiler thread. I would definitely recommend this one, even if it's not something I feel you need to go out and buy immediately. My advice would be wait till you find it in some sort of sale, and then it'll be well worth it. My question for today is this. Rock, paper, scissors is a game I'm sure we've all played 1,000 times ever since we were kids. So what was your favourite childhood game? Hopscotch? Noughts and crosses? MASH? Was MASH even a thing outside of the UK? I don't know. Let me know. I look forward to your answers. If you've enjoyed this review, the like and subscribe buttons are just sitting there, waiting to be pressed. Now press them! Or I'll dunk you in a vat of gunge like we're in an old school 90s kids TV show. Yeah, take that. If you'd like to get in touch, say hi and have a chat, you know where the comment section is, and the link to my Twitter is in the description. Thanks ever so much for spending time with me today, guys. Until next time, take care. For now, I'm off, and you should have a good one. I actually read this book a few weeks ago. Now that's a lot longer than I usually wait to put out a review, but I'm actually glad that I've had